Ever heard of Palopo? How about Lasusua? No? Don't feel bad, because probably very few people on Earth have. They are two very rarely visited towns in a remote area of the island of Sulawesi in Indonesia. But they're precisely the towns we're featuring in this Dreamtime sail episode. We also set a new record of 5 failed attempts before finally getting our anchor to hold. Isn't sailing fun? So come for a ride and see some surprising new places way off the beaten track. We're an Australian couple, Rob and Karen, who worked out before it was too late that life is for living. So we're off sailing to catch our Dreamtime, exploring as many of Indonesia's 17,000 islands as we can. Next on our list is Sulawesi, the world's 11th largest island, remote and far from the usual sailing routes. Its coastline boasts golden sand beaches and hundreds of offshore islands for us to discover, along with many, many diverse cultural groups. Come along on our journey as we make the most of every single day in Series 5, Dreamtime Sulawesi.
Just going over to check on Lola B before we go into town to get her washing done. Washing day today. Yeah, lots of washing. We haven't done washing since Lombok. We do all the light stuff on board, but when it comes to sheets and towels and those sorts of things, the heavy stuff, it is really, really difficult to get it done on board unless you do have a washing machine. And we don't. And in Indonesia, you don't have laundromats that you go and do it yourself. It's a laundry service. So you drop it in and you pay per kilo, which is a really interesting way to do it. But yeah, we're just popping over to Lola B first. So Emma and Daniel have just gone to Tanah Toraja for a couple of days. They looked after our boat while we zipped up there for a couple of nights as well. And so it's that buddy boat system. All is good. We don't expect any dramas here at all. The people are very friendly, very helpful. So, yep, just check her over though, make sure she's all good.
The water was so muddy after all that rain last night. Thunder and lightning as well, but you get that in the tropics.
We have found having this fold-up trolley invaluable, especially when we get to ports. We can carry our jerry cans, take in the washing, and we can provision up really well at the markets.
Now, I'm not saying that sometimes they overload their trucks, but sometimes they overload their trucks. This one has actually punched a hole through the bridge, and the dual wheels at the back have just sunk down the hole. Made it.
Rob's getting Google Translator out. Hello! What are you asking, Rob?
If it can be done by tomorrow afternoon.
Yes.
So we've put it in, it will be all washed, dried and nicely folded and packaged for us to pick up tomorrow afternoon. And the cost, 199,000 rupiah, which is a little under $27. We've been landing here at this waterfront causeway. I'm not sure what the causeway was built for, but it was very quickly adapted to be a series of rooms along either side. Very quiet during the day, but at night it gets going. And just about every one of them is a karaoke bar. Well, I use the bar loosely because there's no alcohol involved. From the time we landed this morning, the locals had just jumped down to help hold the boat and unload our laundry and trolley and everything. Then walking through the town of Palopo with all of the hello misters and where you from and help and assistance, what you need. To be up here in this super friendly part of Indonesia. Really just feeling fairly privileged today. It is really special. So welcome, so friendly, and just to be here. Really do feel privileged part of life.
Before we knew it, Daniel and Emma were back from Tanah Toraja, and it was time for a trip to the markets to stock up the boats with fresh food, ready to move on with our exploration of Sulawesi. The obviously uncommon sight of four bules walking the streets of this remote, seldom visited town continued to attract plenty of attention wherever we went.
At so many places we've visited, we've walked past the police station and found ourselves in it. Normally invited in for coffee and chat. This time we walked past the army barracks here in Palopo, and guess what? Yep, bailed up by the army and invited in. We had to explain very politely that we needed to get to the market before it closed, so we had to decline their lovely invitation. But people that talk about the officialdom in Indonesia, we've found it nothing but courteous, polite and very friendly. I've just come to pick up our laundry. There was, I think, 22 kilos of it in total. And this is the way we get it back. All folded, all packaged, and absolutely perfect. And in Australian dollars, $20. Man, that's service.
With the boats fully provisioned, refueled and lockers full of clean clothes, there was nothing more to do than enjoy one more fantastic local meal ashore at one of the causeway rooms before setting sail next morning. But not before spending half an hour washing thick, sticky mud off the anchor chain.
Good morning, everyone. Well, it is a grey old morning here when we leave Palopo, and probably that's about how we feel. It's a bit sad to leave Palopo. It has been another great discovery. What a great little town. But yes, we're leaving. We've got 51 nautical miles to head across the Gulf and go to the other side and head on south before we head on north again. But our main reason, of course, of heading south is to get to Bao. And Bao is where we have to do our visa extension for another 60 days. So we've got 11 days, I think it is, to get on down. And yeah, but Palopo's been lovely. The trip up into the mountains to see Tanah Toraja and the tribe up there with their very, very interesting funeral rites was fantastic, and we would definitely tell anybody to make the trip up here. It has certainly been a highlight so far, and Sulawesi so far has been an amazing discovery. It's raining at the moment. The forecast was that we were going to get about 10 knots in southerly, which would help us, but this morning when we look, it looks like we've got nothing for the day. So we might be motor sailing in this drizzly weather. Oh well, you get that.
While the rain eased and the cloud progressively cleared, by mid-morning we were still waiting for that predicted wind.
We have absolute glass out again. Here we thought we would have 10 knots from the south, and yeah, that's okay. We know these areas are in wind shadows, so it just really means that we have to plan for motoring and have some diesel on hand.
Well, we've finally got enough wind to roll the sails out and get a little bit of a boost along.
We're currently just 2 degrees south, only a few hundred kilometres from the equator. And squalls, thunderstorms, that's all part of the territory in this piece of the world. Looking ahead to where we're going over on this far shore of the Gulf in southern Sulawesi, that looks potentially like some activity that could give us a little bit of rain and maybe wind. We caught a plastic bag on our Paravane dive board, and being under sail, I just thought, oh, it'll be okay, I'll just reel it in and get rid of the bag. There's too much strain on it. It's pulled the swivel apart, and I've lost the lure, and I've lost, more importantly, that paravane dive board, and I've only got a couple left. So far it's been very expensive to not catch fish in Indonesia. The wind's pretty fluky at the moment. We were getting along at 6 knots a minute ago, and now the wind's eased down to 5 or 6 knots and we're doing like 2 or 3. So we really don't want to restart the engine, so we're going to try and persist and see whether the wind comes back. But if we have to, well, we are on a 51-mile passage today, so we have to get there. If need be, we'll motor sail.
8 hours and 44 miles into the trip, we found ourselves pointing into almost 15 knots of wind, which not only had our speed down to under 4 knots, but also presented concerns about how exposed our planned anchorage at Lasusua would be. We made the decision to change course to the closer town of Palopo to Baku. The satellite images showed a ferry dock there, so we felt it should be better protected from the south-southeast winds.
That's why I'm in the wind. That's where you'll find me. I'm in the wind, long, long gone.
Unfortunately, despite 5 attempts in different spots, we couldn't find any secure anchorage at Tobacco, with the rocky seabed offering no good holding. So after wasting an hour of precious daylight, we decided we had no choice but to make a run for our original plan A, about 8 miles south.
I don't think we're going to beat the storm.
Well, this is what you get when you're the pioneers, because we have not been able to find any information anywhere of any sailboats coming up here and finding anchorages. So we had a crack at that last one, no good. Now we're racing the sun, and hopefully we can get the anchor down and get a good night's sleep. The idea of having to push on through the night is a real last ditch option, because yeah, quite frankly, there's too many unlit fishing boats, there are too many fish attracting devices, there's too much of everything floating around in the water, and at night you don't see any of it until you hit it. So let's hope that we can get the anchor down up here. Karen's very impressed by the white buildings ashore.
It looks like the White House. And then the next building looks like the White House's gatehouse.
Now to me that qualifies as a mansion. We're racing the sunlight, and there's a big cloud bank of storms over the other side of Sulawesi, and that's probably going to rob us a little bit of that final minutes of sunlight. From the satellite that looks like a small boat harbour, and I mean small. We certainly wouldn't get in there. This is really going to be touch and go with the rain.
We're 4-9. 4-8. 4-7.
If you're happy, let's put it down.
You turn into wind. Okay.
Give me a very clear hand signal down, I can't hear you.
Keep it going.
What depth?
4.
Lola B, Lola B. This is our Dreamtime. We're just anchored in 4 metres, over.
Coming on the other side of you.
Let's back down and set it, over.
We are in. Yes! 6th anchoring.
I think we just made it. I can feel the rain starting to fall. The sun is just about gone. We've got our deck lights on and everything give us some light. And Lola B is just sneaking in behind us now. Man, is that a relief.
Oh my goodness, what an effort today's been.
I'm looking into the camera viewfinder and it's a lot brighter in the viewfinder than it is in real life. This Sony camera is doing a pretty damn good job of maximising what is available. There is Lola B. She's going to sneak in and anchor probably a little bit deeper than us. They've got a 2.1 metre keel. We've got about 1 metre of tide to drop from what we've been able to see and find out. There's the last of the sunset. Karen tells me we're sitting in 4.5 metres, and by the echo sounder it is a dead flat bottom, and we just dug straight in. I think it's pretty gooey mud here by the feel of it. An alarm clock in the morning because we have anchored right beside this huge and beautiful mosque. And that's a great sound of Lola B's anchor chain going down. And there is the rain coming over the mountains towards the anchorage now. It's already lightly raining on my head, so I'm going to get this camera out of the weather.
It turns out we didn't need to worry about the wind after all, as it dropped right out overnight and we woke to clear skies and flat seas. We had intended to just overnight here at Lasusua before moving on further south, but the beautiful mosque definitely warranted a closer look. And we're a bit intrigued by the satellite imagery showing the town featuring a well laid out grid of very wide boulevards and dual lane roads everywhere, plus what appeared to be a huge market area. Definitely not what we were expecting in this remote corner of Sulawesi, so we decided to stay the day and do some exploring ashore.
It's seriously a beautiful mosque, isn't it?
Wide boulevards and no traffic. There's been a huge amount of money spent in this town.
Really is beautiful here.
It's just so spread out.
Very good range of fruit and vegetables. All very well displayed and all very clean and solid.
We actually only planned to anchor for the night here in Lasusua, but the place looked interesting, so we thought we'd spend a day and come in and have a look. And now walking through the wet markets and actually the fresh markets, the goods, it's about the best markets we've come across in Indonesia. The whole town has been just another one of those surprises we didn't expect.
1, 2, 3, okay.
We just come across the dome shop if you want to build an IKEA mosque. Some assembly required. And it's certainly not a case of one size fits all. They can do whatever size dome you want around here. Karen trying to speak to a local when he has no English, she has no Indonesian, about which a good restaurant.
Ada juga di sini. Yeah.
Yeah.
Kantor?
Which better?
Oh, it's better.
This better?
Yeah.
We found this fantastic air-conditioned cafe to have lunch in.
And it's great. Quite an extensive menu. They actually do have real coffee here too, which is good. But we're going to have the nasi ayam goreng kampung, which is the village fried chicken and rice. And it's going to set us back $4. Maybe the budget will not get. We had a lovely lunch here at Inn's Truck Stop. Well, it's Inn's Truck Cafe and Resto, but it was really lovely, and for 24 Australian dollars we've got 2 meals for lunch plus dinner, all packaged up for us. It was really lovely.
We suspect that there's not many Western tourists come here. This young gentleman's been passed 4 times on the motorcycle.
Literally every person we came across in Lasusua was incredibly friendly and welcoming. We still don't understand what all the expensive, wide, spread out streets were all about. And when we Googled looking for information on the town, this was the total extent of what we could find on the internet. Regardless, it was a lovely stop in what proved a comfortable anchorage in the conditions, as even the squalls to our west also left us alone for another good night's sleep before we continued south. Thanks for watching through to the end, and please, if you enjoyed the episode, give us a thumbs up or leave a comment. It really helps. We hope you can join us for more of surprising Sulawesi next time. Cheers!
Well, this is what you get when you're the pioneers, because we have no information. We've been all blah 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 and a blah blah.
Not in my way. Do it? But yeah, we're just popping over to Lola B first. Emma and Daniel have gone up to Torara. Emma and Daniel